press conference from the final home game of the season. Bayern against Wolfsburg. Ralf Hasenhüttl, the Wolfsburg head coach, and Thomas Tuchel, the Bayern head coach. And the first we will hear from is Ralf Hasenhüttl. So congratulations to Bayern for a very clean and concise performance. It could have ended much worse for us, especially the way we played in the first 20 minutes, but then we found ourselves, and based on the way that Bayern were playing, we tried to change our system as well. But there were a lot of things that weren't working for us in the face of their high press. The fact is, this is maybe a team that had to find their rhythm because of the amount of changes, but it was clear that for Bayern that this wasn't a topic at all. They came straight into the game. The fact is, they found good solutions. We couldn't find them, and Bayern were incredibly quick in establishing a grip on proceedings, and ultimately we kept trying to find moments that we could breathe as well. And the fact is then Bayern maybe went down a gear after the break, and it was more of a game that was evenly matched, but at the end of the day, for us, overall, we didn't have a chance to win this game at all. And it showed us what we're still missing. The story is clear. It's been told already. It was exactly the same for us as well. 20-25 minutes we were very fluid, very flexible. Our passing game was working well. We were applying pressure in the opponent's half as well. We found some good solutions. And then we could have led by 3-0. But then all of a sudden it became very difficult for us to create goal-scoring chances. And in the second half we struggled to find solutions to create clear-cut goal-scoring opportunities. At the same time we didn't let anything through ourselves. And then we had some young players that came onto the pitch as well. And in many ways it was a very serious performance. The first 20-25 minutes was good, and then after that it was just okay, but it was a well-deserved win, and we keep going. Question for Ralf Hasenhüttl. So Pacinovic was taken off. I wanted to give him a chance, and unfortunately it didn't work out today. Unfortunately, he suffered a foot injury without a challenge being made, and we're worried that he's probably going to pick up a knock, and it's a shame for him.
Ja, an den Tuchel, die Frage ist, das letzte Mal, dass Sie heute in dieser Bayern-Kluft auf der Pressetribüne sitzen, welches Gefühl haben
the last time
was bleibt davon?
that you're going to be sitting on the sidelines at Bayern this season. And just out of curiosity, what intentions do you have with your team changes? When it comes to the substitutions, we wanted to give Daniel Peretz a chance as well, and we talked about that with Manuel Neuer before the game, that we were going to, if the game allowed it, that we'd make that change. And when you're 2-0 up, that's what we decided to do, because Daniel has completely deserved the chance to get minutes, given the way that he is trained. It's very professional, and therefore we wanted to give him a few competitive minutes as well. As for Konrad Laimer, we wanted to bring him on for Leon Goretzka because his back and his thighs are always giving him a few problems here and there. And then we had Min-jae get injured as well. We had to react directly to that. And then Brian Zaragoza coming off. And so, as a result, 2 changes changed it to 4 because his calves were tightening up. And then we had another youngster on the bench as well, and we gave him a few minutes as well, the small Johnny. And that's what was behind the decisions for my substitutions. When it comes to my last home game, I don't really know what's to come. It's going to take a while, and we'll see what stays in the memory. The fact is, I've been saying it for the last couple of weeks. We knew this was coming. I wasn't particularly surprised by anything. We allowed the players a chance to breathe after the game against Madrid, and ultimately did both of our meetings today as opposed to earlier in the week. And as a result, it's the way things worked out. We had a few young players. We had a special atmosphere as well, because They need a little bit more support and courage when it comes to coming on the pitch and pulling them together a little bit and taking them in your arm. And that's why I was quite happy with the way we performed in the first 20-25 minutes.
Danke, Klaus. Ja, hallo in die Runde. Herr Tuchel, es gab vor dem Spiel keine Verabschiedung von Ihnen. Das wurde erklärt von Max Eberl, der
official farewell.
Ist ja noch nicht vorbei. Es gibt noch was zu tun.
For you before the game, Max Eberl said that the season's not over and there's still something to do. But players did say goodbye, so why didn't you do it? And so, yeah, the team went into the front of the Südkurve to say goodbye, but that's something that the team is meant to do, and I didn't. I don't feel like I should have stood in the spotlight at that point. That's for the team, to connect with the fans. And it was always planned that the team would go in front of the fans at the end of the game. Can you say something to Lovro Zvonarek? We saw him today. But you've been watching him for months in training. What is he like as a character, and what do you believe he's capable of in the future, and how happy was he? Well, I hope he was happy. I certainly know we're happy. Fact is, when he came off the pitch, a bit of a stone fell from his heart. He was certainly very fluid today, and in training there's been a couple of times where he's been brought into the action. He's done it very well, and due to the fact that we had a lot of injuries today, we wanted to give him the chance to play from the start, and he deserved that chance as well. He did fantastic as well. He scored the goal early, and we're very happy with him, and there's no one behind the scenes that doesn't feel great for Lovro. So the stadium announcer said that the farewell, that they've got something special at their sleeves for it, and it will come. What are you expecting, and what's your hope? Or maybe get a farewell game as well. No, that's not going to happen. It's always a bit uncomfortable. So please don't look too much into this, but on a day like today, I know that there are more cameras. I talked to Ralph after the game, and also I noticed that I was being filmed, and there were 1,000 cameras around me and 1,000 pictures of me. But at that point, I'd rather go inside. It's not about me. It's for the team. The fans are there for the team, and they're the people that should be celebrated. So I've got to work out what Stefan means by something special up our sleeves, and then I'll be able to work out exactly what's coming.
Herr Hasenhüttl, mal eine Frage zu Sie. Wenn der gegnerische Trainer den
Torwart
20 Minuten
to Mr. Hasenhüttl,
auswechselt, ist das schon außergewöhnlich.
When an opposing head coach makes changes like that late on in the game, how did you see those situations? I didn't really notice those situations at all because I was concentrating on my team. I can say that sometimes there are other situations where goalkeepers are forced off the pitch. And so I certainly didn't take that as a signal or anything. Our aim ultimately was to see if we could give Daniel Peretz a busier time than we gave Manuel Neuer before he came off. So another question to Mr. Tuchel. So you've experienced a lot as a head coach and in this business. Can you give us a little bit of an assessment of what you've learned in Munich ahead of what will be your last press conference ahead of the game against Hoffenheim, and given the fact that it's going to be over soon? So you know, or it's known, that I love football. It's a huge part of my life. It's a privilege to be able to coach at this level. We try to take on the challenge of winning as many titles as possible, and together with the players and the club to pick up those titles, and that didn't work out. I think in this season, up until February, up until the game against Leverkusen, the fact is we were always still just 2 points behind and had picked up a huge amount of points despite not playing our best, especially given the very precarious personnel situation as well, and the amount of changes, the amount of injuries as well. And then in that week in Leverkusen, then the defeat in Lazio, and then the defeat in Bochum, those things really cost us. And then it wasn't 2 points, it was 8 points behind. And then we didn't have the hunger and the bite to really fight back, to really get ourselves back into the title race and stay hot on their heels. And then we had a very tricky game against Lazio, which we approached very seriously and deservedly won. And then we maintained or achieved our minimum target in the Champions League, and that was a good moment that untied the knots in the Champions League. And then we had some great games against Real Madrid and 2 outstanding games against Real Madrid. And those things go in conjunction with everything to do with the coaching staff and the fans, and I think it's fair to say we felt in February, after the end of February, we weren't as consistent in the league as we wanted to be. And that's why it was still important to win today and to give everything we could to win. But at the end, that's kind of my assessment. The coaching career is that you always learn more day in, day out, and you can always take something with you. It's part of this job. And that's why everything's okay. Things will go on, and there'll be new challenges.
Hallo Herr Tuchel, Min-Jae Kim hat gerade in der Mixzone gesagt, dass
Min-Jae Kim said in the mixed zone that his assessment of his first season at Bayern is a bit of mixed feelings and a bit 50-50. How do you feel about his first season and also to his performance today and after the Real Madrid first leg? Well, overall, I would say that my analysis is pretty similar. It's not overly positive, it's not overly negative, it's about 50-50. Just enough to meet the expectations here at Bayern, but there were also reasons, personally, where I was incredibly happy with him, and then of course he had the moments against Real Madrid, and there were a few moments where a few mistakes slipped into his game as well, but otherwise he was completely reliable up until he went to the Asian Cup. In January, he was completely saved us throughout the season because he was the only player that really played every single game and didn't take any breaks or didn't need any breaks either. And that's why my analysis is that in terms of the way he presents himself, his personality, is a very, very positive assessment, but albeit if there are a few setbacks in the mix as well. But that happens in the best careers at this level. But overall, I'm very positive when it comes to my analysis of Min-Jae Kim, and I'm very happy he's here, and I think Bayern can count themselves as very lucky because he's a top player with a top mentality. Thank you very much for joining us for our final home press conference. Final score, Bayern 2, Wolfsburg 0.